Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today with our 11th session of Read With Me. It is such a pleasure that you've decided to join me. Even you all that just come to listen, it is such a pleasure to have you. I'm sorry, just a little bit late, but however, we're late, but not never. Okay. It is so good to see you. I'm Dolores, and we are continuing today to read the book by Dr. Cindy Trimm, Unstoppable. We have learned so many strategies, so many wisdom principles. She has given us so much about life and who we are on the inside and being true to ourselves on the inside. We're just going to jump right in and continue reading, okay, and getting these dynamic principles taken from this book. Okay, we left off on page 143, and before we left off, though, we asked you 4 questions. We left with those 4 questions, and I'm quite sure today, as I read, we're going to be more enlightened in how we should be answering those 4 questions. Okay, so let's get right in. Page 143, winning action. Define your brand. To better understand the perception others have of you and that you have of yourself, answer the following questions using one word or one phrase answers. So we're going to read that again, okay? What do you say about yourself? What's the strongest personality trait that you project to others? What value, or moral principle do others associate with you? For what skill, talent, or ability are you best known for? Describe your personal style. Who are you, right? What does others say about you? Ask a friend, a coworker, or a loved one. Ask them and see what they say about it. What do you see as a dominant characteristic of my personality? These are some good questions. Don't get mad at what they answer, at their answer, but it's just good to know how a person really feels. Okay? When you think of me, what value or moral principle comes to mind? What is my most prominent skill, talent, or ability? How would you describe me to someone who has never met me? Oh, that's a good one. Okay, you ready for those answers? Let's try a couple more. What effect do you have on others? How do acquaintances most commonly introduce you to someone you've never met before? How? Okay. Page 144. What topics most frequently come up in your conversations? When you meet people for the first time, they often develop a gut feeling about you. On a scale of 1 to 10, how strong is their first impression of you? 1 is weak, and then 10 is strong. Reshape your brand, she says. Ask yourself, am I happy with these perceptions? That's why I say don't be mad if they give you answers that you were not really looking for. Don't be angry. Just go within yourself and begin to understand that it's all in building a brand, okay? And it's good to know how people really feel and see the real you, what you're portraying to them. Let's continue. Make a pros and cons list that describes how these perceptions support or hinder the brand you are creating. As you conclude this chapter, spend a few moments considering this quote from marketer Seth Godin. Every action, every word, every element of your appearance and your projected personality is a choice. Leave it to chance and hope that people will understand the message you really want to communicate, or take control of the process and send the message you intend to send. Consider whether these impressions help you achieve your goals. If they don't, reflect. The brand by which you want to be known for. It's up to you to become the person you want others to see. Let's continue with chapter 9 on page 145. Cultivate winning credibility. Trust is the glue of life. It's the most essential ingredient in effective communication. It's the foundational principle that holds all relationships. Steph Covey. In 2012, America's trust that the media reported news fully accredited and fairly hit an all-time low. Security breaches at Target and Neiman Marcus during the 2013 holiday shopping season rattled consumers' confidence when as many as 10 million people's personal data was exposed. Gallup's poll indicate declining levels of trust in respect to federal government, executive, legislation, and judicial branches, and an increasing sense of pessimism toward the economy. Increasing sense of permissive towards the economy. Permissive. I might be saying that wrong, but that's the word. Americans don't even trust the American people anymore, or to make sound political judgments. Clearly, Americans have trust issues. We most of us have those. And perhaps for good reason, she says. The lack of trust that seems to permeate the American psyche stems from a lack of trustworthiness. Almost every minute of network news is devoted to highlighting the ways people cheat, lie to, steal from, and hurt their fellow man. Wow. Even if we don't implicitly trust the media, it's hard to ignore the sheer quantity of negative reports. But there is good news for you. Amid all of these distress, if you can develop a reputation, she says, of one who is credible, you will stand out. Page number 146. Like a light piercing through the darkness, the brighter you shine, the more people's attention you will attract. So the question is, are you credible? That's good. Can others trust you? She says. What does it mean to be credible? Credibility refers to the believability of an individual's or an organization's reputation. When people view you as credible, it means that they believe, right? You are real and true, that you will fulfill your promises, right? As said, and that you aren't just out for yourself. I am reminded of a story I heard about an old minister who thought He was clever. As happened, he lost his purse containing 100 pieces of gold. So he went to the town carrier and asked him to announce a reward of 10 gold coins to the one who found it. After a few days, a farmer came to him with the purse. He had found it lying on the ground. The minister counted the money and found the purse contained 100 pieces of gold. He thanked the farmer for the pains he had taken, right? But the farmer wanted the reward as announced. The minister told the farmer he must have already taken the reward because originally, there had been 110 coins in the purse. The farmer now understood how clever the minister was. He went to the judge to state his case. The judge sent for the minister, and after hearing his explanation, understood that the minister was a trickster. The judge said the purse found by the farmer contained only 100 gold coins, so it must not belong to the minister. He ruled in favor of the farmer, keeping the purse he had found. Wow. Compromising your credibility can be costly. While in previous chapters, we discussed building a personal brand that reflects your identity and core values, you must also build your credibility. You must intentionally craft your reputation and image so as to shape people's of you. Perceptions, of you. That's good because branding is an important tool that can help you increase, page 147, your capacity to influence others. But personal branding isn't a gimmick that you can employ to secure your place in people's hearts and minds. Even you are able to make a positive impression. You must continue day in and day out to uphold your reputation. Credibility is how you do that. It is your strategy for maintaining and strengthening both your brand and your influence. It's how you get people to know, like, and trust you along as a long term, she says, basis. 3 more keys to cultivating credibility. Throughout this book, I've repeated words like integrity, authenticity, core values, transparency, and consistency. All of those concepts are essential to establishing credibility. Additionally, conviction, compassion, and competence can help you shine brighter in people's memory, cementing you in their minds as a person they can trust, as a friend, and as a leader. Wow. Conviction. When you believe in your dream, your purpose, your goal, and yourself, you radiate a sense of confidence that others notice. Even if they don't get your goal or your dream, they can't deny your commitment to achieving it. Your unshakable belief inspires people to believe in you and your vision. As well discussed further in the next section, she says, your conviction also inspires people to believe in their ability to transform even their lives. Your belief is crucial As John Maxwell writes in Put Your Dream to the Test. That's a good one. Convincing others of the significance of your dream can happen only if you are convinced of the significance of your dream yourself. Developing convictions begins with knowing who you are and what your core values are, and then anchoring your goals to those truths about yourself. One way to strengthen your conviction or belief in your goal is to use daily declarations. These positive, page 148, focused statements should be spoken aloud to affirm your beliefs and desires to yourself. And how they make you feel will provide an indication of whether you truly believe them. Take a moment to think about a goal or desire you have for your life. First, put it to the test by asking, is this my goal, or is it something that another person or society at large has told me I should want? Is this goal rooted in my core values? In other words, is it in alignment with my true identity and sense of self? If you can honestly answer that your goal is your goal and that it aligns with what you know to be true about yourself, then great, she says. Now, write a declaration to reinforce your belief in yourself and in your goal. Make your declaration positive, in the present, and purposeful. Below are a few declarations I've used in the past. Feel free to use them. Wow. Or to revise them to fit your own unique situation and dreams. Let's hear some of those. Instead of striving to do everything, I will focus on doing what matters most to me. I possess everything I need within myself to go after my goals. Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. I am trustworthy. Good intentions are not good enough. She says, I commit to turning my ideas, which we all should commit to turning our ideas into actions. Speaking declarations aloud daily helps instill the conviction you need to inspire others to trust and believe in you. Ultimately, however, your conviction will be made evident not by the words you speak, but by the actions you take. You gain credibility when your conviction empowers you to walk the talk. Page 149. Compassion. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. John C. Maxwell. Daniel Coleman, author of the groundbreaking book Emotional Intelligence, told his story of compassion he personally experienced in a substation. At the end of the day, on a Friday, let me take a sip of water. I want to read this correct so we all can get it. At the end of the day on a Friday, I was going down the subway. It was rush hour. Thousands of people were streaming down the stairs. And all of a sudden, I noticed that there was a man slumped to the side, shirtless and not moving. And people were just stepping over him. Hundreds and hundreds of people, she says, were just stepping over him. I found myself stopping to find out what was wrong. The moment I stopped, half a dozen other people stopped. We found out he was Hispanic. He didn't speak any English and he had no money. He had wandered the streets for days, starving, and fainted from hunger. Wow. Immediately, someone went to get orange juice and someone ran to get a hot dog. The guy was back on his feet quickly. All it took was that simple act of noticing. That's good. As heartwarming as this story is, it leaves me wondering, why did hundreds of people walk past the suffering man? We each encounter people in need every day. It might be a coworker battling a chronic illness, a widow neighbor de- dealing with grief, or a hurried mother struggling to manage her children in the checkout line at the grocery store. We all have seen that. You may not be able to resolve each person's problems, but simple acts of compassion, she says, can ease their pain. Page 150. Compromising is empathy in action. Or should I say compassion, she says, is empathy in action. It's about seeing a person's need and responding in practical ways. Compassion has the power to transform lives and communities. When you act with compassion, the people around you recognize that you care about others. They see that you're not just in this life for yourself, but to empower and encourage others. Simple acts of compassion can make such a difference. So, why don't we show kindness more often? She says. Ask yourself, if any of the following issues kept you from responding compassionately: self absorbency. This happens when your focus is directed totally towards yourself. Many people are so absorbed by their own interests that they never even notice another person's needs. Showing compassion can seem inconvenient or costly to us, right? You might get dirty or give up a small luxury to provide for someone's immediate need. Mm. An overloaded schedule, when you feel every moment of the day it's a hassle to deviate from your plans. Ooh, that sounds selfish. You may be so busy rushing to the next appointment that you simply don't notice the people you pass along the way. Daniel Goldman says that the incident in the subway shook him out of his urban trance, a common experience for many commuters. If your typically if your typical response is, I don't have time for this, you may lack space in your schedule to act compassionately. Isolation. Have you ever changed lanes at an intersection to avoid making eye contact? Wow. With a homeless man, or avoided discussing a painful subject with a friend because you didn't know what to say? By avoiding a situation, you can escape painful realities. But this isolation can also create judgmental stereotypes, she says. Author Anne McAfee cautioned, make no judgments where you have no compassion. Wow. That statement right there is worth repeating. Make no judgments where you have no compassion. When you don't understand a person's experience, it's easy to blame them for their predicament. My tongue got twisted there. Intimidation, which we all do sometime, which is bad. We judge people and judge the situation when we don't know what even the experience was or the situation is. Okay. Fear can keep you from responding compassionately. This is intimidation. Maybe you encounter a situation that you've never experienced, page 151, before, and you don't know what to do or say. Fear of the unknown causes us to withdraw, removing ourselves from situations where we could show compassion. Here's how one woman shared about how she dealt with these fears. I remember the summer I worked in urban Los Angeles. Friends and I committed to serve a weekly breakfast to the homeless people in our neighborhood. The first day we served, I was terrified. I had never made conversation with a homeless person. Wow. Before and didn't know what to say. I spent the morning in the kitchen brewing coffee and preparing donuts, but was too scared to do any more. Each week I was a little braver, and by the end of the summer, I looked forward to interacting with the men and women we served. Wow, that was good. When a person is suffering, it's natural to be at a loss for words. A simple, caring response, such as, I don't know what to say, but I want to support you in this experience, can help you connect with a person that is in pain. It takes time and practice to learn how to act compassionately. So don't let your initial awkwardness hold you back, she says. Let compassion flow through you to meet your community's deepest needs. By compassion, we make others' misery our own. And so, by relieving them, we relieve ourselves also. Sir Thomas Browne. Mm. What keeps you from responding compassionately? These are questions that we should really ask ourselves, because sometimes I believe we think we're a little bit nicer or kinder than we really are. So, what keeps you from responding compassionately? Or, of course, of the issues described above, which connects with you? How can you grow in this area? Take a few moments to brainstorm a list of needs in. Okay, this is page 152, and these are the lists. You're in your neighborhood, in your church, and in your city. Let's think about compassion for a moment and how we can be compassionate to others. How can you use your gifts, time, money, experience, and or energy to meet these needs? Competence. No work is insignificant, and labor that uplifts humanity has dignity and importance and should be overtaken with painstaking excellence. Martin Luther King Jr. Mm. To be impeccable is to be faultless, or irreproachable. Impeccability implies excellence. Obviously, no one on earth is perfect. We all have faults and weaknesses. She says, so I want to be clear in stating that impeccability is not about perfectionism or creating a rule-based or logistic standard for achievement. Rather, for our purposes, Impeccability is about committing to continual personal growth and to giving life your very best daily. Two ways to ensure your impeccability are to impeck what you expect of yourself and to intentionally boost your competence. Inspect what you inspect what you expect. Determined to set a standard of personal excellence for your relationships, your health, your finances, and your work. What are your non negotiables for those core areas? For example, a standard of excellence can be applied to every area is honesty. Wow. A commitment to honesty is your relationships eliminate. Wow. Wait, let me say that again. A commitment to honesty in your relationships eliminates lies, infidelity, and other relationship risking behaviors. Honestly, in regard to your health, could mean a commitment to not trying to fool yourself and count the walk to the parking lot as exercise or ice cream as a dairy serving, or trying to convince yourself that you don't have to quit smoking. Honestly, in your finances could mean that you refuse to fudge on your taxes by taking extra deductions. Wow. Page 153. Let's continue a little bit further. Honestly, in regard to work, should mean that you keep your promises and deliver top quality products on time. What she's saying is saying what you mean and meaning what you say, and then walking the talk. That's basically what she's saying. Once you've identified your non negotiables, conduct periodically evaluations. She says, relax. I'm not asking you to do extra paperwork, although you may want to make notes in your personal journey. Simply look back on your day and ask yourself, did I live up to my expectations, right, of excellence today? If the answer is, I could have done better, determine where you need to make improvements and or amends. With the busyness of life, let's keep going. Okay. Let's stop for a second. Okay. She says, relax. I'm not asking you to do extra paperwork, although you may want to make notes in your journal. Simply look back on your day and ask yourself, did I live up to my expectations of excellence today? If the answer is, I could have done better, she's saying determine where you need to make improvements and or amends. With the busiest of life, it's very easy to set goals and then zip from one activity to the next and forget all about them. Your personal standards are too important to your integrity and identity to let them slip under the radar. Commit to inspecting what you expect daily. Boost your competence. Credibility isn't about academic knowledge, but it is about how others see you applying what you know. If people feel you are competent or capable of performing a particular task, they will reach out to you for advice or support. Your competence makes others confident in their decision to work with and to trust you. If you want to be impeccable in the way you live and work, Be intentional, she says, about adding to your knowledge and raising your skill level. Doing so will improve not only your ability to perform, but your confidence and others' confidence in you as well. Identify the areas of your life, particularly in relation to your work, that need improvement, and use the following tactics to boost your competence. Read books, she says, not just blogs and social media posts, but read books like we're reading today, right? Take a course, complete your degree, or earn another degree. Practice, 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 she says. Hire a coach or a trainer. Page 154. How to build broken trust. When you stumble, nothing beats being humble. Harvey McCray. No one is perfect, from the working mom who misses her child's school play, to the spouse who fooled around with a coworker, to a doctor who misdiagnosed a patient, or a leader whose actions sought personal gain rather than the good of his or her followers. Everyone has made mistakes. We need to understand that, right? And all of us will slip up again and again, she says. Our humility makes us fallible. Thankfully, we each have a conscience that alerts us to our moral, ethical, and relational failings. When you feel that twinge in your gut or a sadness in your heart, pay attention to it. It could very well be your conscience warning you to stop and turn towards what you know to be right. Like an internal compass, your conscience will point you back to the way you should be going. The way that aligns with your core values and the truth of who you are. Don't disregard that voice or the people who care enough to call you out on your bad behavior. Listen and take action to repair that breach of trust. It's okay. It's okay. What she's saying is humble yourselves a bit, okay? It may be embarrassing to admit your mistake, but I promise it's unlikely to be fatal. On the other hand, ignoring or denying your faults, or worse, blaming others for them, will ultimately lead to ruin. When your conscience sounds off warning bells, she says, here are 5 steps you can take to begin to repair your damaged credibility. Be humble. I just mentioned that. Be humble, she says. Pride leads to disgrace. This is number 1. Be humble, okay? But with humility comes wisdom. Proverbs 11:2 says, those words are as true today as they were when King Solomon wrote them almost 3,000 years ago. Pride keeps us from seeing our own faults, so we sink deeper into them. Humility opens our eyes and hearts to the reality that we have the potential, page 155, we have the potential to make mistakes. Practice humility. Be humble enough to listen to your conscience and to those who point out your errors. That's good. Number 2, admit your mistake. Until you admit a mistake, it's difficult to do anything about it. Now, I'm not saying you need to hold a full court press conference, she says. At a minimum, admit your guilt. Admit it to yourself. Owning your faults or failures is a step towards correcting them. Sometimes, many times. In fact, it won't be enough to simply recognize your fault because other people are almost always affected by your behavior. Find those people and tell them, I was wrong. I was wrong. It's okay. Taking ownership, she says, of your behavior requires that you refuse to make excuses or blame others, ever. The reality is that external circumstances could have triggered an action or a reaction. But remember, each person is responsible for their own behavior. Point blank, period. So when you confess your mistake, resist the urge to shift the blame. Take adequate expert, wow, Barbara Patricer's advice. Don't make excuses for your behavior. Okay, I'm going to read that again. So when you confess your mistake, resist the urge to shift the blame. Take adequate experts, Barbara Patcher's advice. Don't make excuses for your behavior. If you're wrong, simply say, I'm wrong. Well, you see, I haven't been sleeping well, and my brother is in the hospital, and the holidays are coming up. You're going to sound like a jerk if you make excuses. She's saying that's how it sounds, okay? So, what she's saying is when we realize that we've made a mistake or an error, first of all, we need to realize that we're wrong. After we've realized it, then we need to take accountability. Okay? Say, listen, I was wrong. And I'm okay with that. So, because I'm humbling myself and I'm going to learn from it. Okay? Number 3, she says, apologize, saying, I was wrong. Come on, let's all say it together. I was wrong. See, we're still okay. We just open that where we can understand that we were wrong and we're able to be accountable and know that we were wrong and able to repair it. Okay, so let's continue. Number 3, apologize, saying, I was wrong is an excellent start, she says. But don't stop there. When spoken sincerely, the words, I'm sorry, carry tremendous healing powers. In her book, The Power of Apology, Beverly Eagle explains that saying I'm sorry, wow, is only a matter of politeness or eloquent. It is also a way of acknowledging an act that can't go unnoticed without compromising the relationship. Apology has the ability to discern the anger of others, to prevent failure, misunderstandings, and a bridge that distance between peoples. She's saying that brings a distance between us. Okay. She writes, in some instances, it even has the ability to rehabilitate, page 155, an individual, resolve conflicts, and restore social harmony. That's a lot of power packed into 2 simple words. I'm sorry. Okay? When you admit your fault and say, I'm sorry, you ultimately empower the other person to forgive you. This is so powerful. Thank you, Dr. Cindy Trimm, for writing this powerful book. Wow, that was a power punch right there. When you admit your fault, I'm reading it again, and say, I'm sorry, you ultimately empower, she says, the other person to forgive you. That is absolutely powerful. So, number 4, make amends. Follow your apology with real effort to right the wrong. You may even ask the person or people you've hurt, what can I do to make things right? While you can't change the past, you can learn from your mistakes and avoid making them again. If you owe a debt, repay it in full. If you broke or lost something, replace it. If you're the mother who missed the spring concert, spend extra time with your child and make certain, she says, not to miss the next important event in his or her life. Sometimes no gift or payment will be appropriate. In those cases, the best thing you can do is focus on rebuilding your reputation. Mm. Number 5, rebuild your reputation in the MBA of selling in the real world. Author and entrepreneur Harvey McCray recounts the story of Michael Milken, who was nicknamed the Junk Bond King and indicted for insider trading, racketeering, and securities fraud in 1989. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison and fined 600 million. Wow. He served 22 months before being released for good behavior. A week later, Milken was diagnosed with prostate cancer and told he had 12 to 18 months to live. From that moment, Milken's life took a dramatic turn. He radically changed his diet and lifestyle, she says. He beat the disease, but Milken didn't stop there. He writes, I recognized the war on cancer. He founded the Prostate Cancer Foundation. It's the world's biggest source of prostate cancer research funding. Page 157. He managed savvy, his management, savvy, his accelerated the space of prostate cancer research. Experts say he's a force in cutting cancer's facilities. Fortune magazine puts him on its cover and dubbed him the man who changed medicine. Wow, what a comeback. Milken didn't want to be remembered for his massive and public failings, so he set a course to rebuild an honorable reputation. Your mistakes may never be as financially costly or as publicly discussed as someone's like Milken's, but you can apply the same principle of rebuilding your reputation with your child, your spouse, your clients, your company, or your community, she says. Begin by using the keys to cultivating credibility. honesty, compassion, and impeaceability. Hold yourself accountable to others by living transparently. Use your core values as beacons to help you stay on course to becoming the best version of yourself. In the final section of Unstoppable, Compete with Yourself and Win, we will look at how all of these life transforming mindsets, skills, habits, and practices work together to shape you into a strong and worthier leader. Mm. Winning actions are credible, she says. Rank yourself. I want you guys to really do this because I'm going to do it with you. I'm no different. I'm going to do it with you. Rank yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 for each of the following questions. 1 is never, and 10 is always. Excuse me. Okay, everybody ready? Let's go. Now, 1 is never, and 10 is I tell the truth. Okay? 10 is always. 1 is never, 10 is always. Let me just say that correctly, the way she has it on here. 1 is I tell the truth. Rank yourself on that. Okay? Number 2, I can be trusted to keep a secret. That's number 2. Number 3, I listen when others talk. Okay? Number 4, you're ranking yourself? Please do. Because I am as well. Number 4, I notice other people's needs. Ooh, she's getting good. 158. I am always on time or early to meetings and events. No, I'm always late. I just ranked myself right there. See, it's okay. We're reading to uncover these secrets. This is something that is very valuable for us. And I'm doing it myself along with you. Okay? Let's continue. I am confident in my ability to perform my job. My family members and friends know they can count on me to be available to them physically and emotionally. I admit when I am wrong. I finish what I start. I keep my promises. Okay. We're gonna go back a page because we're gonna repeat that. That is so good. Dr. Cindy Trimm, wow, thank you. Okay, let's start again. Let's just do it one more time. I'm gonna read it over just to where we're supposed to rank ourselves. 1 is never, and 10 is always. Okay? I tell the truth. I can be trusted to keep a secret. I listen when others talk. I notice other people's needs. Page 158. I am always on time. Ooh, that hurt. Or early to meetings and events. I am confident in my ability to perform my job. My family members and friends know they can count on me to be available to them physically and emotionally. You rating yourself? Okay, let's continue. I admit when I am wrong. I finish what I start. Last but not least, I keep my promises. Tally your score, she says. The closer your total is to 100, the more people perceive you as credible. Dr. Cindy Trimm, this is absolutely amazingly powerful. Wow. We're going to go ahead on and stop right here on page 159, section 4, the winner's circle. We're going to go ahead on and stop right here. We don't have much left, but the principles, wow, that we have gathered from this book, Unstoppable, by Dr. Cindy Trimm, is absolutely powerful. We are getting so much help here. We're being offered help, even where some things that we didn't really realize was wrong, or we were at fault at, or faulty at. She's helping us here. And I am just so very excited that you've decided to read along with me. Please feel free. Even those of you, matter of fact, I want to thank those of you that come on to even just listen. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And please, whatever you do, like, follow, share, subscribe to the channel. And I appreciate you so much. Until next time, this has been session 11 of Read With Me, where we're learning so much about ourselves by this powerful author, Dr. Cindy Trimm, as we've almost read the entire book of Unstoppable. Powerful. Listen, I want to challenge each of you listening to invite someone else to listen. So when we do session 12, we'll have a few more listeners, okay? A few more subscribers. Until next time, thank you so much for reading with me. Until next time, have a beautiful day. Thank you.